Hello everyone, this is the finale of What If Naruto Was Trained by the Nine-Tailed Fox, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Believe, fight, he muttered, likely to himself. Kyuubi balanced on his shoulder sure-footedly smiled a fanged grin at his jailer, chuckling. Fortune's fools, are we not, kittling? Naruto laughed. Indeed. How odd it was for Konoha, hater of Kyuubi and his jailer and anything related, would cheer and clap for him. Him. Uzumaki Naruto. Vessel of the Kyuubi. How funny it was how it turned out. Fortune's fools indeed, the vessel answered, chuckling. Calmed now, Naruto looked to Gaara, who stood off a ways, arms crossed yet not looking all that irritable. Naruto attempted to carefully remove his taloned gloves, but only with the help of one hand. It was rather impossible. The Tanuki vessel looked on carefully. I've crushed your hand, he said evenly. I apologize. Naruto merely waved his good hand, tenderly favoring his broken one as the shock wore off and began to relentlessly shear P. He offered his left hand and Gaara took it carefully, avoiding the sharp talons. They shook firmly, both offering varying degrees of a smile. And that's where they left it, Naruto returning to the finalists' waiting area, and Gaara disappearing in a swirl of sand. Naruto, back in the waiting area, sat frowning with Kyuubi beside him. The remaining contestants merely spared him a glance, or in Sasuke's case, a glare, too immersed in their own thoughts about their upcoming battles. The vessel finally managed to gingerly remove the glove and take a look at his rather broken-looking hand. It would take a good many hours, if not days, to heal. And he still had his match with Sasuke coming up. A medic nin approached, offering to treat the mangled hand, but Naruto politely declined. With Kyuubi's chakra still flooding his system from the battle, when he had so hastily healed from Gaara's sand, no normal medic nin would be able to heal him. The vessel sat in thought about what to do for a moment, carefully listening to Shino's and Shikamaru's battle, not that there was much to listen to, until Kyuubi mentally suggested a summon he was familiar with. Apparently the Fox Spirit Summon, Naruto couldn't recall whom it was. The Fox Spirit Summoning clan was so huge, was a talented healer among foxes, as the healing talent was very rare. And the medic fox being just that, a fox, Kyuubi's chakra wouldn't be the slightest hindrance. Naruto silently agreed, beginning a long string of one-handed seals. Without both hands to preform the summoning, it took twice as long, as the vessel hadn't dabbled deeply in the subject of one-handed seals. Finally, after a long while, the summon shimmered into Naruto's view, looking on with the kind eyes of a healer and glowing with silver energy like a ghost. Sasuke, more attentive than the pondering Temari or swooning Sakura, blinked and looked to the shift in the air. Eyes narrowing, he activated his Sharingan and squinting eyes widened. Ah, thou hast the spirit and chakra of a powerful kitsune, the medic fox said with a grin. And I speak not of thine, companion. She smiled kindly to Kyuubi. What would one servant by the likes of me do for thee? Naruto spared Sasuke a small glance, but telling by the Uchiha's confused look, he couldn't hear a thing. A fellow kitsune, he sent a swift glance to Kyuubi as he explained, and the medic fox spirit nodded in understanding, told me you were a talented healer. My hand has been crushed and needs to be healed quickly. The vessel extended his hand tenderly for the fox spirit to see. She looked on, kind fox eyes becoming critical as she gazed at the hand. What the hell is that, fox spit? Sasuke asked venomously. Sakura blinked away from her swooning and finally noticed the slight shimmer in the air in Sasuke's Sharingan eyes, slowly putting two and two together as to why she couldn't see anything. Temari merely ignored them both with a scoff. She had heard from Gaara of Naruto's strange ways, leaving to go find Kankuro and Gaara. The vessel looked up with Kyuubi's growling, blinking from the fox spirit as she carefully sniffed at his hand. A summon, he answered shortly. He idly wondered why everyone in Konoha enjoyed calling him Fox Spit. It was a rather uninsulting name, even if it ran deep for Naruto from being called it for years. Perhaps it had something to do with Kyuubi and it just became an unlikely habit for everyone in Konoha. Sasuke scoffed. What kind of useless summon is that? It doesn't even look tangible. A spirit, and thus one that can possess you. And thus one that can make you dance in the women's hot springs, singing like the cranky crow you are that you're a traitor to Konoha. The Uchiha's gaze hardened and Sakura lunged forward. He grabbed the back of his shirt and whispered something to her. Immediately, she calmed but looked devilishly satisfied. Shrugging, Naruto turned back to the medic fox's work. She seemed done evaluating now and began to gather chakra. She thrust her black nose forward to rest on the vessel's hand, giving him the oddest sensation. Not only was he hard-pressed not to pull his hand back, even the small touch was torture, but the fox spirit's nose seemed cold like a dog's, almost icy to the touch. Regardless, he could feel the healing chakra enter his hand, quickly rearranging bones, muscles, and the like. It was a rather ill process, having his bones be rebuilt, but finally after a long quarter of an hour, the medic fox was done. She finished with a warm lick on the back of his hand, dispelling the icy feeling her wet nose left behind. Naruto thanked her and she nodded, disappearing like dust in the wind. Sometime during the healing, Shikamaru returned to the waiting area, obviously the victor. The lazy ninja didn't even question why Naruto sat there, grimacing in L for the past 5 minutes for no reason. He had overheard about the vessel's spirit fox summons as Neji explained it to his team. How troublesome of a summon. Shikamaru sure hoped he wouldn't be duking it out with Naruto anytime soon. He had been at the invasion and had heard the explosions coming from the ring during his fight. Naruto gingerly flexed his hand, and was happy to find no L. Glancing around, he saw that Temari and Sakura were gone, and Shikamaru had returned. Ah, good. Just in time. She is a wonder, is she not? Kyuubi said to his jailer privately. T will be a short fight. The flower may be strong, but the wind is stronger. Sure enough, Temari trudged back in shortly after, badly see and bruised but the victor. If she was this bad off, Naruto loathed to see Sakura. He frowned though, as he looked to Sasuke. It was his turn again. Begin. The Uchiha and the vessel squared off, both reluctant to make the first move. Sasuke glared sharply at Naruto, Sharingan eyes blazing. Naruto reached for his pocket, probing for his gloves. His eyes widened though, as Sasuke held them up in his clenched fist. Looking for these. Naruto inwardly cursed at his stupidity, Kyuubi helping him curse all the while. Leaving the gloves in the waiting area like a rookie idiot. Unfortunately, Sasuke continued, I couldn't copy your Kitsune claw. For some reason, Naruto grinned mischievously, and without these you can't do that technique, so I guess they're useless to both of us. The Uchiha tossed the gloves into the air, preformed seals in a flash, and called out, Kaiten, Gokakyu no Jutsu. A huge fireball incinerated the gloves and continued toward Naruto. Naruto danced out of the way, on all fours for maximum speed. He glanced back to watch Kyuubi run the other way. The vessel and his companion readied themselves, but Sasuke stood up now, straight and relaxed. His head tilted, as if listening to something. He sighed, obviously exasperated. Sorry Naruto, guess we can't have our fight today. But don't worry, we will when I destroy the leaf. Naruto's eyes widened and he sent a signal to Tsunade up in the Hokage seating. Immediately, Godime unsheathed a kunai and plunged it into the neck of the Kazekage beside her. The man sat stunned for a moment, before puffing away and leaving a log behind. Sasuke, blurring through seals, looked up and preformed, Kaiten, Ruka no Jutsu. The stream of fire flew straight up into the air, high above the stadium before dissipating away. A rumbling was heard, slowly growing, as the Snake Summon King, Manda, slithered over the high walls of the stadium and offering his head for the smug Uchiha to climb onto. Naruto rushed forward, tackling Sasuke through the middle, but the Uchiha puffed away, reappearing on Manda's forehead. The snake quickly retreated and disappeared before the vessel could regain his bearings. He muttered. Onto plan B then. Kyuubi, a short distance away, stood expectantly. Gathering chakra and preforming a half-tiger seal he murmured, Kai. Immediately, the image of the small fox flickered and reappeared as the huge horse-sized form he really was. The fox's large head swiveled to the direction Manda and Sasuke were retreating. When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain? Kyuubi murmured morbidly. Naruto's already furrowed brow seemed to wrinkle more. Naruto ran up and vaulted onto his back as Kyuubi dashed forward with a kick. Time to find his comrades. It's a very windy thing to sit upon the back of a house-sized fox as it ran full speed to battle. Naruto had successfully found each of the rookie nin, apart from, oddly enough, Sakura and of course Sasuke, and Guy's team, and they proceeded to run after Manda and Sasuke. Only to be left in his trail when they couldn't run fast enough. And this was why all of the genin were huddled together on the back of the now Colossus, Tenko. Naruto broke the dam and flooded the fox's faux body with the red chakra, making it grow in power and stature. There were very few questions of how Naruto made this come about. The other genin were slowly growing used to Naruto's bag of surprises, and thus with little a word, apart from the exuberant, cool. The vessel's comrades crawled to the back of the giant fox. They were making great time now, as the trail became more and more fresh according to many noses and Byakugan. Slowly, the tall trees that had at first hindered their movement, filtered out and left a huge field in their wake. It was a peaceful scene, the field stretching for miles and covered with tall grass and various flowers. Oddly enough, as Konoha was currently being attacked, it was peacefully quiet and everything reflected the yellowed sunlight. Kyuubi, from memory, and Naruto, from stories, recognized it quickly. The battlefield. Nodding their heads in respect for a moment, the genin jumped from Kyuubi's back as his chakra flow lessened and, thus, shrunk to his normal horse size. The large team advanced slowly, carefully. The air was stuffy at the scent of snake as it hung about, and even ones without enhanced senses could feel it. How horrid a thing to corrupt this battlefield with the stench of snake. Teaser memorial. Naruto nodded agreeingly, but most of the team looked confused. A few of the more educated ninja seemed to understand, such as Shikamaru and Neji. Memorial of what? Kiba asked, nose wrinkling. Akamaru yipped in agreement. Yondaime and Kyuubi. This is their battlefield, their last stand. This is where Kyuubi was sealed away, Naruto answered, as he walked to the front of the group. He took great care not to look anyone in the eyes. Sue. What? You know this since you're so in tune with foxes. Ino guessed jauntily. Quote. Something like that, Naruto answered after a moment. A few of the so-called prodigies, and a few that weren't, looked on doubtfully. Come on, he finally see off, advancing. The group fell silent, apart from a few being silenced by others, and followed their team leader. Contrary to it once being a battlefield, the area was rather hilly, with small rises and valleys. Ironically, the valleys resembled canine footprints. But as the team came to the top of one of the taller hills, they stopped short. There, far away yet visible, just breaking over a hill stood a large army of samurai and ninja. Their armor glimmered and glistened in the yellow sunlight as they slowly came to a fidgeting stop. The glare of kunai and katana pierced the genin's eyes as they were drawn and unsheathed. Though they had stopped, the army seemed ever moving as each individual moved to their own accord, like a waving sea of clanking armor and weapons before them. And in front of it all, standing together proudly, stood Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke. The genin team took a step back, clearly outnumbered at least 100 to 1. A few of the more vocal ninja had the gall to curse in their own way, such as Naruto, Lee, Tenten, Kankuro, Kyuubi, and Kiba. A few of the more weak-hearted took a step back, or fell to their knees, such as the newly healed Ino and Hinata. A few of the more hardened and realistic ninja gave dirty and worried looks to the army, such as Shikamaru, Gaara, Temari, Chuji, and Shino. But they all took an involuntary step back. But Naruto, Kyuubi by his side, took a step forward. Dumbass fox spit. What the hell you doing? Kiba bellowed. The vessel flinched at the insult, old memories pulling forward, but Kyuubi inconspicuously leaned toward him, coarse fur brushing his jailer's bare arm in comfort. Naruto seemed to relax. Going to fight them, he answered coolly. Many frowned. Idiot, we're outnumbered 100 to 1. It's too troublesome. Naruto frowned deeply. The vessel gauged their reactions, looking about his team. Please, Naruto-kun, Hinata stuttered, reverting back to old ways as she poked her fingers together and looking back and forth at the army unsurely. We aren't strong enough. We need to get help. Before the enemy gathers reinforcements. The idea of it only seemed to scare Hinata more. Many seemed to agree, while a few, Gaara and Lee, looked indecisive. Naruto seemed to gather himself up, standing taller. You don't get it, he retorted. They are the reinforcements. He pointed to the sea of enemies across the field behind him. He never took his eyes from the group. If we retreat, they're going to follow us to Konoha and infiltrate. He noted a few disbelieving looks. Don't worry, they know the way. Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura are leading them. Naruto lifted his chin defiantly. For the past few months, I have been under the command of the Uchiha team leader to find evidence of his treason. I followed him to serve my turn upon him. But no more, our evidence is across this field, waiting for us to gouge out its eyes and drag it back to Konoha. The Kyuubi vessel stood even taller, proud and confident. But not only that, these people are here to destroy Konoha. Konoha, our home, our village and our precious thing. The thing we fight for. So if they want to fight, let's give it to them. Believe. Fight. Naruto looked at the group solemnly as they looked behind him to the army anxiously. We can win, he said assuredly, Kyuubi nodding. The group looked at him apprehensively and Naruto looked downhearted, that no one would fight for Konoha with him. Gaara stepped forward, joining Naruto at his side silently. I will fight with him, he said slowly, permanently dark rings giving an evil look to his eyes. The group looked on, questioning. He released me of my demon. How? I don't know. Gaara looked to Naruto, I owe you for that, at the very least. There was a pregnant silence before Kiba stepped forward to stand on Kyuubi's side. Don't know why the hell I'm doing this, but we might as well go out with a bang. Akamaru barked in agreement from his jacket. Lee soon followed. Yosh. With our flame of youth, we shall defeat any darkness. Naruto allowed a chuckle at Lee's exuberance. The rest of the group paused though, loath to step forward. The vessel sighed, ready to turn and meet certain death, until the tension broke, and one by one the rest filtered forward, joining the small band of willing ninja. They all stood together again, looking over the army proudly, yet fearfully. Naruto spoke up. Konoha ninja, my brothers and sisters of the kunai. I would rather fight beside you than any army of thousands. The vessel roared. The group looked on, most blinking, before their confidence slowly rose. Let no shinobi forget how menacing we are of the leaf. Let us fight like them. A few cheered at this, all agreeing. We run to battle today. Let us fight for Konoha. Protect it. It is ours. Naruto spared a quick glance around his team. A few looked ready, confident to serve for their village, but many, Ino, Shikamaru, Kankuro, Temari, Neji, looked unconvinced. The past is history. The future, it is uncertain. But today is a gift, so we shall call it the present. We are not shadows dispel in a few meek rays of sunlight. We are not puppets, pulled by strings or fate, nor are we the wind, here one moment, gone the next. We fight for all we have. All will be well, Kitlings. All will be well in the end. If it is not well, it is not the end. Kyuubi roared powerfully, the army shifting uncertainly before them. We will fight for Konoha and we will die for it. If we fight for it, then we are great. If we fight for it and die, we are heroes. Be not afraid of greatness, my friends. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Naruto pumped a fist into the air. Many of the nin gained determined, challenging looks. This army dare challenge the great Konoha nin. They shall not pass. Now let us fight. Fight for Konoha. The team cheered loudly as one, pumping fists with kunai into the air, and ran forward. Naruto reached into his pouch, and tossed his homemade pills to each of them, all of which swallowed them, some still more hesitantly than others. Charging onward, Sakura and Sasuke retreated to the back of the army, just before the team connected with the front of the army. There was a resounding shockwave at the force, a few of the samurai falling to their backs. The Konoha genin fought fiercely, quickly and efficiently immobilizing or even killing the enemy. But they were grossly outnumbered and soon the more close-range fighters retreated and the powerhouses surged forward. Kiba and Akamaru, experienced with Naruto's pills, took a strong offensive with their new techniques, Dainamiku Makingu and Jinju Konbi Henge, Sotaro. Now one monstrous two-headed dog, they surged forward with a huge Garoga the size of Hokage Tower. Gaara stood close behind, giant waves of sand flowing over the enemy. Not far off roared a house-sized sand tanuki, odd markings proving it was Shukaku, battering the enemy back and forth with its tail and huge blasts of air. Temari, at Gaara's shoulder, rained down blades of wind from her fan. Shino's destruction bugs also flew forward, multiplying at huge rates with their host's now abundant chakra. Waves of the army merely collapsed from chakra exhaustion. This was soon followed by the huge ball that was Chuji as he rolled over many more. The rest of the team hung back, quickly taking care of all who was left alive and expertly covering the backs of their friends, with the two Hyugas with Lee and Ten bringing down most shinobi, and Ino, Kankuro and Shikamaru taking most of the samurai down efficiently. Kyuubi turned madman, Mad Fox, mercilessly tearing out throats or chucking knives with his tail. Naruto looked on at his team, and watched as they fought so valiantly. Nevertheless, they were grossly outnumbered and slowly being pushed back. Frowning, the vessel quickly went to action. Kitsune Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. He cried, and the field was suddenly filled with his own army of foxes, easily matching the enemy's army. They stood, waiting for orders like mindless puppets. Naruto paused, gathering his vast amounts of chakra, more. It bubbled under his skin, hot and burning, until, finally, he had enough. Kuchio's no Jutsu. He roared, and hundreds of foxes shimmered into his view, all of which quickly possessed a Kitsune Bunshin. Their powerful demon chakra whipped around the feeble bee of the Kitsune Bunshin, and became visible to the NI. Their bee, huge, imposing and half-tangible, surrounded the tiny Kitsune Bunshins. They leapt forward to battle, making quick work of the enemy. Naruto preformed his mass summoning technique 4 more times, of course with the help of his pills, each time summoning hundreds of fox spirits to possess his Bunshins. Thus, he became the first to summon the entire fox spirit summoning clan to battle at one time. All except their leader, of course. Their leader was always there from the beginning. The genin quickly began to make headway with the help of the foxes, their chakra tails lashing out at the enemy to quickly dismember any in their way. The army, after many long, what felt like hours, slowly began to dissipate, when Naruto finally spotted Uchiha and Haruno battling one of the stronger spirit foxes. The vessel rushed forward, spotting Ino at the corner of his eye, run toward Sakura. With the Uchiha so distracted with the fox spirit, Naruto easily connected a stone fist with his cheek, sending him rolling. Sasuke quickly made it to his feet again, glaring daggers at the vessel. The spirit fox backed off as they began to circle each other like an angry wolf and sly fox. So I guess I get to fight you after all, Sasuke spat as he tossed a kunai at Naruto, quickly disappearing. The vessel danced out of the way. I finally figured out what the hell you are, came his voice, behind him, accompanied by the whir of a Fuma shuriken. Preforming a quick, Hari Jizo, it was reflected back at the Uchiha unexpectedly, and pierced his shoulder. Kyuubi no Kitsune. Not far off, Kyuubi's ears perked and looked over curiously as he pinned down an armless samurai heavily. Shrugging half-heartedly, he turned back to his work and tore out a samurai's throat. Naruto looked down at him, unblinking, before finally flashing a foxy grin. Nope. Just his keeper. Enraged, the Uchiha stood and tossed the giant shuriken again, disappearing from sight. Naruto dodged it, but cursed when he felt a wire twang against his arm. The wire instantly twisted around him like a rope as Sasuke reappeared. He preformed many hand seals and his arm plunged downward, his other hand clasping his wrist. Blue energy gathered and he surged forward, leaving a trench in the ground behind him. Chidori. Naruto faintly heard Kyuubi howl not far off, it was hard to tell, his ears ringing so, feeling his L. Follow not the bell, kittling. 'Tis an L, inviting thee to heaven or to hell. The vessel, woozy with L, watched as time seemed to slow down. But he would, it's time to stop it. None of his comrades would die in this battle. The vessel looked back at Sasuke, hardly hearing the Uchiha insanely rant on how Orochimaru would make him all-powerful with a leaf cadent, Sharingan eyes blazing. Fox spit. I will destroy Konoha. I will have the last word. He concluded. Naruto glared, coughed up and rasped. Last words are for fools who haven't said enough. Sasuke promptly went staggering back at Naruto's burst of chakra, so hot that it melted the wires and set him free. This is the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi's chakra. He stammered. Naruto was silent, his chakra still blazing as he carefully wiped the trail of bee from his mouth to his thumb. With his other hand he pulled down the collar of his shirt, exposing a small seal just below his collarbone, still intact from the Uchiha's vicious attack. Nope, he offered a sinister vulpine grin. This is me. He swiped his bee thumb across the seal and his already blazing chakra seemed to multiply by hundreds. Sasuke stumbled back, finally landing on his rump, and watched as the blazing blue chakra slowly formed a shape around the vessel. The shape of a fox with 3 tails. Naruto's real form slowly began to shift as well, filling up the large image of his chakra until he too resembled a 3-tailed fox. The chakra slowly dissipated, vanished, and left the vessel's flowing golden fur to shine forth. He was tall and lean, slender yet regal and imposing. His face, long, golden and a muzzle tipped in black, was adorned with 2 shining blue jewels. No, not jewels, eyes, slittled blue shining eyes. His ears were long and pointed, just as Kyuubi's, and black-tipped at the end, like most foxes. Fur rippled downward, flowing like a golden river, all the way to his tails, also tipped in black like auric brushes in ink. And in all his foxish glory, Naruto stood before Sasuke, the boy hardly coming up to his shoulders. "Now Uchiha Sasuke," came Naruto's laughing voice from the regal fox body. "You have been condemned as traitor of Konoha and responsible for leaking information to the enemy and many murders. You will be trialed once we return you to Konoha." Sasuke snarled lowly and puffed away. Naruto's ears swiveled as he heard, "Kaiten, go," above him. It was see-off though as the vessel disappeared in a blur of speed and reappeared in front of the Uchiha. "Don't underestimate me, Uchiha," Naruto roared. Kitsune claw. Naruto's his hand-like paw, preforming his usual devastating attack. Still, when they both fell back to earth and the vessel danced out of the way. "Though you will stand trial in Konoha, Uchiha Sasuke," Naruto said slowly. "You have dared commit the worst crime against me." Sasuke, hardly listening, looked about desperately for help. The entire battlefield seemed to be ignoring him, as if caught in a genjutsu. In fact, just now he could see through it with his one intact Sharingan, the air shimmering with chakra. He looked back at Naruto, eyes wide as the vessel advanced toward him menacingly. "First, you've made me cast a genjutsu. I really don't like casting genjutsu. Second, the battle was won, victorious and successful. The fox spirits had been a major help, and though many had been dispelled through the battle, almost half of the clan was still left to see to the army's end. All of the genin, tired sore and beaten, were alive and, mostly, well. Sometime during the battle, they weren't exactly sure, many Konoha reinforcements joined the battle, enabling them to surge forward and break through the army. The genin were amazed though, when they saw none other than the Toad Sannin, Jiraiya join the battle. He hadn't been seen in Konoha for years, and unbeknownst to them, unofficially defecting once he heard Uzumaki Naruto had run away. He was not loyal to a village that outcast their savior. Slowly, the Eye Ninja began to return to Konoha, but the genin lingered behind, looking about for their leader. Surely, oh surely he wasn't felled during the battle. There was no sign of Tenko, or as many had figured out, Kyuubi, either, which only made them worry more. They waited, and waited, the sunny day still shining, amazingly enough, until they finally saw 3 figures breaking over the hill. One, large yet lithe, padding on all 4s in a regal way only he could. Another, being carried, useless and eyeless, yet thankfully unconscious. Then there was the last, standing proud and tall, his W already healing as he led all 3 over the horizon toward the small band. Sunlight played through his golden mop of hair and past his, thankfully human, limbs to cast a shadow down on the group below. And Konoha's sun, shining in all his glory, broke over the horizon. The war was won. Konoha was still standing and intact. Though with many casualties, the Konoha Nin held strong and quickly rebuilt and were in relatively working order days after. Repairs were still being made but normal life was slowly coming back. Konoha had effectively kept most of the invasion out of the city walls and dispelled the huge army. Orochimaru, leading them through, had been rendered useless as a ninja by Tsunade and the newly returned Jiraiya. Apparently the Toad Sannin had heard of the Kyuubi vessel returning to Konoha and came to see for himself. What a surprise he got. A month after the attack, Sasuke was finally outed as a traitor and a huge trial ensued. The council and public wholeheartedly disagreed that their savior would do such a thing, and blamed Naruto and Godime for setting it all up. They were silenced, however, when they were backed by such a huge collection of evidence, and eyewitness accounts. Not to mention backed by most all of the shinobi population that knew of Naruto's feats, most viciously by his genin comrades. Slowly, things returned to the norm, and Konoha became more prosperous. The village slowly began to accept him, both the public and the council, and the vessel became a figurehead of loyalty to Konoha and a great shinobi. Slowly things were becoming well. But only slowly. The sun shone over the prosperous village that was Konoha. It was renowned by the world as being the largest, most successful, yet merciful village. It was renowned by the other hidden villages as being the one with the strongest, most loyal citizens and shinobi. They hadn't had a member defect for more than 100 years, it was said, after the outing of the last Uchiha. It was renowned for their heros, that would gladly die in battle if it was for the good of their village. But then, it was also renowned for the hidden village with the least casualties, the comrades were so loyal to each other. It became known as the hidden village of Heros, for all its loyal ninja. Proudly the golden fox, lying peacefully content in the sunny, flowered Konoha graveyard, recalled all of this. He lay there contently next to a large grave, Yondime's, his bright, glowing golden fur flowing with the wind like the grass he lay upon. A butterfly flipped its little wings around his long ear, which he flicked idly, the little thing didn't seem to mind, changing direction to flutter about nearby. 9 long, black-tipped tails whipped and swayed with the wind playfully. His laughing, benevolent blue eyes looked up over the tall green trees to the Hokage's faces carved into the tall cliff. He looks on at the solemn faces of Shodime, Nadime, Sandime, Yondime, and Godime looking straight out to the horizon, to the east, as if watching for a sun to rise over the village. And then, there was the Rokodime, smiling widely with a foxish grin, his 6 whisker marks like deep trenches in the stone and hair spiking up all round, creating the highest point on the cliffside. He looked over the village with his foxy smile, silently guaranteeing he would protect them all. While the rough old stone sea at the first 5 Hokages, giving their expressions a sharp stern illusion, the Rokodime seemed soft and laughing. The golden fox gave a chuckle as he gazed upon Rokodime's face. Such a silly-looking face indeed. He paused, his earring as if listening to a silent spirit of the graveyard, which he just might have been. Why I don't stay as Hokage? He asked the spirit softly. An affirmative. They don't need me anymore. It would not be natural for me to stay their Hokage until the village falls, he answered sadly. Contrary to popular belief, Rokodime had been hesitant to take the position of Hokage. What if he did something wrong? Brought him to waste? What if they hated him? This of course had not come true and he, in the end, lead the village to paradise. And I'm no fox spit, the golden fox added merrily to the spirit. His nose rose indignantly in the air as he said it, giving him a faux bravo of Innis. The air shimmered and fluctuated as many spirits laughed. A whole group of them. The fox slowly became solemn though. I love the village. If I stayed forever, they would not be happy. You know it's love when all you want is for the thing you love to be happy. Even if you're not part of that happiness. The very air became sad along with the fox, as the spirits seemed to become quiet. The shining sun dimmed as it ventured behind a cloud. What used to be cheery, vibrant colors, dimmed morosely. Even the plants, flowers and trees alike, seemed to droop under the weight of the mood. But, the fox added happily, and the air, along with the spirits, perked again. Birds chirped happily and the sun shone through the trees brightly. It doesn't mean I can't come back after a while. The golden fox suddenly stood on long, thin legs, muscles shifting under his fur beautifully. His 9 tails swayed in the air gracefully as he slowly walked forward, deeper into the forest. Despite his golden fur that almost seemed to glow at times, and the glittering sun above, the shadows cast by the trees quickly swallowed him up. He disappeared, and the world went on with its ways as if he'd never been there. Konoha is renowned for many things. But one of the most known things was their nights. It was said, that over Konoha, every night, the heavens themselves blaze forth. End. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.